Well, another volume of RWBY has come and gone. I gotta say, man, it was a lot of fun. So much had gone down this season, I just kind of felt like I needed to share my thoughts about where the series is. And man, I do enjoy the take they had this time around where our four main huntresses are separated, dealing with their own individual issues, having survived the fall of Beacon. We have RWBY, who this time around is joining up with the remaining members of Team Juniper to form Team Ranger as they head for Mistral in order to prevent a similar calamity that befell Vale. And we have Yang, who this time around is unfortunately left in depression after losing her right arm after trying to save Blake from the monstrous Adam Taurus. Blake herself has decided to head for a menagerie in order to get some clarity and just take a break from everything that has occurred, with Vagabond's son not too far behind. And then we have Weiss, who is back in Atlas, more so against her will and having to deal with her own family affairs. In between all this, we do have some interesting side stories in the form of a kid named Oscar, who for some reason now has Ozpin in his head, who disappeared at the end of Volume 3 after a fight with Cinder we didn't really have a conclusion to. Cinder herself, though, is pretty much just moved back to the background after having been crippled by the effects of Ruvy's silver eyes. And yeah, I mean, she's pretty much just a pawn of Salem at this point. Salem herself just being very mysterious and creepy as hell whenever she is present. Other characters decide to come back into this storyline, like Raven, who we hadn't seen since Volume 2, and we get to see a little bit more of her relationship with her brother Crow, of whom Crow is just following RWBY to make sure she stays out of harm's way. Unbeknownst to both him and RWBY, she is being stalked by Tyrion, one of Salem's vicious assailants. And along with that, we still have yet another looming threat in the form of a nightmare from Ren and Nora's past. We have all these individual plot threads that are coming along, but nothing in the storyline for this volume feels congested. There's enough time for everything. Nothing is ever dragged out. And I'm glad to say we're always left wanting for more, at least that's how I felt when we had these storylines come and unfold. But though every now and then we do get some breaks in the form of World of Remnant stories that expand the universe and history of our favorite show, RWBY. And so, what we have left now, though, is Crow is the one who's telling these stories, and actually enjoy the level of character that Vic Mignogna puts into this to make up for the disappearance of Ozpin. And speaking of voice actors, I'm glad to hear other familiar voices join in, like Kent Williams and Tara Platt, who play Blake's parents in this. On that note, I do enjoy the theme of family that we have and how that affects three of our main huntresses as they venture back home. Mainly, we get to see the interactions primarily with their fathers and how that influences their goals and motivations. We have Tai Yang, who, though can be immature at times, shows that he genuinely cares to make sure that his daughter Yang gets herself back in the game in order to dish out the pain that she's been known for and trying to get her past that depression that she was left in. We unfortunately have a counteract to that in the form of Jacques, or rather Weiss's father, who is an abusive monster and only cares about the bottom line. This in turn, of course, forces Weiss to have to take charge for herself and also for her family name. Finally, we have Blake, who with her father Gira, who at times could be stern and intimidating, and just has a really big heart underneath it all, and more than welcomes Blake back into his home after all of her experiences with the White Fang, to which now she has a rekindled fire to actually try and reclaim it from head son Worthy. Now, with all this put together, it brings us to the finale, which isn't necessarily grand or explosive in terms of what we've seen before in previous volumes, though for that I want to more so blame the animation style that they're using. I'm not saying that I don't like the new style. I do enjoy the new cell shade, but I do know that when you move from one platform to the next, you have to take time to improve your craft with it. So, that being the case, even though we don't have as many fights as we saw over in Volume 3, we do still have intense, quick, and incredible action sequences. And man, that last one with the Grimm on horseback that we had Team Ranger deal with, man, like, I was on the edge of my seat. I almost thought another member of Team Juniper was just gonna bite the dust. But luckily, they pull through, and this allows us to get back to Ren's character arc in allowing him to avenge the death of his parents who died at the hands of this Grimm. And so, with everything coming to a close, I'm excited and hoping that we get to see Team RWBY form back together and fight back against these evil forces, especially when we have Waltz entering the fray as he was left speaking with the headmaster of Mistral at season's end, and also wondering where Oscar will play into the fold of everything, having met up with Crow. And man, I mean, if that wasn't enough to keep me like just hyped, I love that ending theme, Armed and Ready. Just now, as soon as the Volume 4 soundtrack becomes available, I am buying that. But I wouldn't want Armed and Ready to also overshadow a different theme I liked called Bad Luck Charm, which plays during the fight between Crow and Tyrion. If there was any particular theme I probably didn't like, it had to have been the intro theme. I mean, it's catchy, it works, it gets its job done, but Let's Just Live isn't really my cup of tea. So, thank you for hearing me out on this. If you enjoyed, please feel free, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. And please be sure to share even your opinions about how you felt with the ending of Volume 3. Are you hyped? Was it not what you expected? Please do so in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Have a good one, and see you next time.